In this video, I'll demonstrate how to get started with the Loupe software. I'll focus on two main components of the Loupe, both of which require admin permission to access: application settings and user administration. First, we'll look at application settings, which has four components. Company profile is where I can set what appears on all appraisals and emails created and sent out by the Loupe. Under contact information, I can enter my name, mailing address, phone, and email. If I make any changes, I need to click Update Information to implement them. Under Display, I can choose to show either my company name or a logo on my appraisals. If I have a company logo in graphic format, I can click Choose File, browse to the logo, and upload it. If I choose instead to display my company name, I enter that here. In this example, my company name and not a logo will appear on my appraisals. I'll click Update Display to save. Email management contains templates for two boilerplate emails that I can send to users and customers. To edit the password reset email, I'll click this pencil icon. Description is for internal purposes, to describe what this email is for. Subject is what will appear in the subject line of the actual email. The body of the email contains several HTML tags, which can generally be left alone, and several items in square brackets, such as username. These tags are defined here on the right, under Variable Key. When the actual email goes out, each variable is replaced with actual text, such as my company name here. I can add or change this email to reflect my own style, and use any of the other variable keys. For example, I can add the header Dear first name space last name comma using copy and paste to copy the first name and last name tags. This means that the first line of this email will be personalized for the recipient. To add a break line after this line, I can add the HTML tag BR. To implement the changes, I'll click Update Email. The description I added now appears here. The other email template is Appraisal Complete, which is sent to customers once their documents are ready. This email contains a link the customer can use to open the appraisal online, and includes a default password that the customer will be prompted to change. Appraisal Documents contains a list of the many types of documents that are included in appraisals, based on appraisal type. There are three cover letters: a general one for an estate appraisal, and one for a seller appraisal. As an example, the general cover letter provides some information about confidentiality and personal information. After that are listed the various types of appraisals, including collateral, colored stones, insurance, etc. For example, the colored stone document lists the document's purpose, function, and certification practices. For a complete description of all appraisal documents, please refer to our user manual. Each of these documents has a list of standard fonts, images, and variable keys for the appraiser, appraisal, and company. We recommend that you take time to look over the appraisal documents you're likely to use, and go over the wording carefully, making changes as needed for your own company. Remember to click Update Document after any changes. Using these documents in a new appraisal will be covered in later videos. Finally, General Settings contains two settings that apply throughout all appraisals. Appraisal expiration determines how long the document will be available for the customer to download, and appraisal lifetime sets how long the document will be valid. There is also this option to switch between grams and pennyweight. Appraisal Report is used to export a list of customers with appraisals in the system. In this example, here is today's date, and this date is 3 years before. This report is useful for keeping in touch with your clients and is particularly helpful when you want to remind your clients that they are in need of an update. Appraisals should be updated every 3 years to ensure that the value is current and the customer's insurance coverage is sufficient. Next, I'll go over the User Administration table, which I can view by going back to my home page. Again, this table can only be accessed by users with admin permission. As mentioned in the previous video, a user of the Loupe is anyone who creates, manages, or receives appraisals. In other words, anyone who uses the Loupe for any purpose. There are three types of users: administrator, appraiser, and customer. At least one user must be designated as the administrator. The admin's user type is user, which means they can use the Loupe to create appraisals and view and modify any appraisals. The admin permission setting also means that the user can access application settings and can access the user administration table. An appraiser's type is user, which means they can use the Loupe to create their own appraisals as well as view and modify their own and other appraisals. An appraiser's permission setting is also user, which means they cannot access application settings or the user administration table. A customer's user type is customer, which means they can access only their own appraisal records via another module called the Customer Portal. We'll demonstrate that module in another video. Customers are not created manually in this table. They are created as part of the appraisal creation process. This will also be shown in another video. So in this example, I have 3 customers, 2 appraisers, and 1 admin. I can click any header to sort the table, for example, by user last name or user type. Clicking a header a second time reverses the sort order. To add a new user, I'll click Create New User. This new user will be an appraiser, so I'll enter a name and email and set the type as user and permission as user. This is where I could give a user admin permission as well. Active status means the appraiser is current. I'll show later how to disable a user. I also need to create a password for any new user. This password should have at least 8 characters, including at least 1 number and 1 special character such as hashtag or asterisk. For example, Loupe and 45. I need to re-enter this password to ensure that I've typed it correctly both times. Then I'll click Create and Continue. Here I can verify the appraiser's name and email. If at some point this user loses their password, I can either manually reset the password or click here to send a password reset email. This email is one of the 2 emails I showed as part of email management. I can also enter a designation as well as a signature, both of which will appear on this user's appraisal documents. The signature must be a TTF file, and this file can be created for you by the Loupe based on your own signature. Email info@theloupe.com for information on a signature file. Once the file is chosen, I'll click Upload. I can also include the appraiser's resume, which will become part of that appraiser's appraisal documents. The easiest way to do this is to click Show Resume Example, select the text that appears, and copy it. Then click Hide Resume Example and paste the copy text into the resume field. We recommend that you not modify the text inside the curly brackets, such as diploma or certificates. The text to the right of the curly brackets is what should be edited to fit the appraiser's education and work history. You can press Enter or Return to add line breaks, though it's best to keep the entire resume to 14 lines or less, including any blank lines added for spacing. For work history, 2 of the most recent employment positions should be sufficient. When all looks good, I'll click Update User. Back on my home page, I can see my new appraiser. I can edit the user by clicking the pencil icon, and I can make any changes or disable the user. Or if I return to the table, I can also disable the user with this icon. I could disable an appraiser, for example, if this person no longer works for my company. Once disabled, I could delete a user. However, in the case of an appraiser, deleting an appraiser also deletes all appraisals done by this user, so deleting appraisers should not be done. I'll go back and make this appraiser active, then return to the table. In the User Admin table, I can use this drop-down menu to filter the list, to show only customers, or to show all users, including the admin, or to show only active or suspended users, etc. To clear the filter, I can click the X icon. Similarly, in the Appraisals table, I can filter to show appraisals from today, or the past week or month, or to show appraisals older than 1 month. If I need to find a specific user or appraisal, it's easy enough to find anyone on these small tables. But say I have dozens of users, and they don't all appear at once in this table. I can use this field to search for a specific user. If I enter just a few letters of a name, such as JON, The user admin table will show all users with JON in any part of their first or last name. Let's say now that I want to find an appraiser with the last name Barker, or all appraisals by this user. I can enter any part of the name or the whole name and narrow the search by appraiser last name and click Go. The user appears here and their appraisals appear here. I can also narrow a search by user last name, customer ID, or email. To remove the search filter, I can click the X icon. In the next video, I'll show how to create an appraisal for a diamond ring.